Currently 9:30 p.m. on March 31st. That's Easter Sunday. We're getting ready for the Easter Monday tornado outbreak, which will head into Easter Tuesday in Ohio. Easter Monday is generally looking like a Missouri threat. Easter Tuesday looking like an Ohio threat. Unfortunately, my plan for this week was to go to Oklahoma and visit my friends, which works out well for the Monday chase, which is looking increasingly less tornadic, but tornadoes still possible, and not so well for the Tuesday chase, which is going to be where I'm at, home in Ohio, which is where I won't be on Tuesday, unfortunately. So my current plan at the moment is hit St. Louis, and before I get to St. Louis, maybe Vandalia, Effingham, maybe earlier, decide, do I want to stay in St. Louis and try to chase cells around the metro area there, or head further to the Missouri-Kansas border, where I think the main threat will be. The latest in-car viewers show that this is a neural network idea of where tornado probabilities, that's the number, and then the reflectivity there in the shaded as we move across. You see the first threat with generally this cell here heading into St. Louis begins, as well as around the same time, a little bit afterward, that Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas area, and that's where I'm mainly deciding to set up. Probably we could see events further south, as we see here, especially if that low-level shear gets much more favorable. We could see something more like the Oklahoma-Arkansas border, and generally that timing is really all over the place. You see, ideally we have this 23-0 Z timing, but if we get something more like that 3 or 4, that's too late for us to get tornadoes that we can see. So that's unfortunate. Pretty consistently now there has been a cell on that Oklahoma-Kansas border moving into the Missouri-Kansas border. You see this is at 23Z. Tomorrow, that's, what's my math here, 6 p.m. This is going to be 7 p.m. It crosses in, and again, that's just north, somewhere near Nevada, Missouri, something like that. And so let's take the sounding there for Nevada, Missouri at 7 p.m. Again, that's a little before sunset at this point, actually pretty well before sunset. But the sun will be going down, tornado on the sounding. You see, the problem is this 2 to 3 kilometer shear, or really that 1 to 3 kilometer shear, is very unfavorable for tornadoes. That 0 to 1 is okay, and everything after that's very good for severe weather, at least. But really that kind of dip here is something very unfavorable. If we look down here, though, the dew point's in the mid-60s, which is good. Air temperatures also pretty good. However, that little bit of cap there could prove difficult and slightly unfortunate, but capping is more of a problem further south, as I mentioned, like that Oklahoma, Arkansas area type range. Now, as we see here, that these shear numbers are pretty low, again, in that 6 to 8 kilometer range, pretty high. SRH values also fairly low. A little bit of sin, good amount of cape, and all of this is generally indicating more of a hail threat at the moment. All right, it's just now about 5 o'clock Central. I woke up maybe 30 minutes ago here, and yeah, time to go. All right, I'm in Indianapolis. I just got done at Mass. I'm now probably gonna stop for some breakfast, quick fill up. I don't quite need more gas yet, but I'm gonna get ahead of that now since I'm stopping anyways. It looks decent. I'm thinking now Lebanon and keeping on I-44. Earlier this morning, I was thinking of keeping on I-70 post St. Louis towards Kansas City and then dipping further south. At this point, my main area of interest is still that generally Pittsburgh cell that's going to cross Oklahoma to Kansas to Missouri, something like that. And so as a result of that, I'm thinking I-44 just north of I-44 in southwestern Missouri is where the ideal chase location is. Can I get there in time? I don't know. There's a lot of storms going on today, though, so if I miss this one, there's potential that I find one either before this one, after this one, and so I have plenty of time. So anyways, that's enough talking. Need to get back on the road to safely get there in time for tornado action. And here we are about to enter Missouri here soon. There's now a moderate risk of severe weather in Oklahoma due to hail mainly. Hail perhaps in excess of 3 inches. So this could be exciting. I'll keep you guys updated at our next stop here shortly. All right, time for the awkward angle video while I continue to drive here. So a few things have changed. Number one, perhaps the most dumb, is that Ohio is now under a moderate risk for tornadoes tomorrow, 15% plus significant, which is highly unfortunate that I'm going to miss out on that story, but you know, whatever. Second, and I think I may have mentioned this, there's a moderate risk for hail now in Oklahoma. A tornado watch has been issued until 9 p.m. That was just issued, so I certainly didn't tell you guys about that one. Outside of Pittsburgh, Kansas, which was our original target, is now a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect, but it's not including Pittsburgh. And quite honestly, the more I look at the models, the more I'm talking to my weather partners, Pittsburgh, Kansas is looking less and less tornadic. However, there is potential that I can make it to a tornadic supercell in Oklahoma before sunset. And so now, right now, I have changed my target point from Pittsburgh, Kansas to McAlester, Oklahoma. McAlester, Oklahoma is our target. I have about 4.5 hours till I get there. That puts me in around 7 p.m. Storms are expected there probably around 7 to 8 p.m. Sunsets at 7:45, which means I could see my second sunset tornado, which would be very cool. I am wearing the Lucky shirt, as you can see. This is the same shirt I wore last time, which I didn't realize until after I left the house this morning that I decided to wear the same shirt. So anyways, I'll bring you guys back in at our next stop or our next change of target location, but just wanted to let you guys know that my target has changed to McAlester, Oklahoma. Hi, me again. Of course it's me. So I changed my mind. We're going back to Kansas. Two reasons for that. Number one is Kansas is better in that we have two opportunities to see tornadoes. One is going to be around 6 p.m. Central, and the second one right before sunset, which may require some movement on my part, but that's fine because we'll be chilling there for 2 or 3 hours in that city. So that's the first reason, is we have more opportunity for seeing tornadoes. We have two different rounds. The second reason is because of what the case is in Oklahoma. Number one is in Oklahoma, there is too much water in the area. There's near McAlester, there's too much water, which makes it difficult to navigate and thus very difficult to chase properly and safely. In addition, the hail threat there, I don't want hail damage on my car. I might get hail damage anyways, but I want to mitigate that as much as possible. So the newest, latest, greatest plan is back to Pittsburgh, Kansas for 2 rounds of potential tornadic activity, and we'll see exactly what happens here shortly once we get there here in about an hour and a half. All right, I think this is the last video we'll do in this format because I have 15 minutes until we get to Columbus, Kansas, which is my new target, just south of Pittsburgh, about a county south, maybe even less than that. The reason for that change was this first round of storms appears to potentially, go straight through Pittsburgh, which I don't want any part of. I don't want a part of any cell. I just want to see the cells. The good news is, if you take a look over here, we are finally beginning to see some sunlight today. Currently, the issue is cloud cover, which the result of that is no low-level shear, and the result of no low-level shear is no tornadoes. So as soon as we see sunlight, that means our tornado probabilities rapidly increase, which is good news for me. So we'll continue to monitor that idea. Again, I was saying my new target is Columbus, Kansas, and the reason for that is the latest HRRR, the past actually few. Oh, and actually, as I speak, we are crossing the Kansas border and on this little tiny road here. So welcome to Kansas, according to the sign. Anyways, now that we are in Kansas, somewhere in this state is where we expect to see the tornado. The HRRR last few runs have shown that the cell that we're chasing or intend to chase is currently just north of Stillwater. It's a little speck on the radar at the moment. All right, I'm in Columbus, Kansas, finally. Good news, bad news. Good news is tornado possible tag on the severe thunderstorm warning news. Bad news is that the hail is up to 2.75 inches, which is baseballs, which we do not want. So we're going to have to head further south because at this point, the tornado's not how we want it to be. So just got a little extra gas just in case, and still got to go pee at some point because the bathroom wasn't open. But yeah, good luck, I guess. Tried that again. The car started, and guess I didn't like the recording. We're heading south ASAP. Now somewhere in Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, just south of the Kansas border, and hopefully we'll get a look. There is a tornado possible tag. Hopefully we'll see a tornado. All right, so we have a beautiful cell just north of Altamont. Want to see it? Yeah, we can't. There's too much trees and stuff in the way. So I'm gonna head down this road, down this way. Again, this way here is north, this way is south, this way is west, which is actually towards the storm. But the worst of the storm is certainly to my north, as you can already see. The idea of this motion is to find somewhere without trees blocking our view. That way we can see the base of the storm and hopefully, see a little tornado action, if you will. Also, again, still there's a second round that we're hoping for, so even if this one doesn't pan out, that's fine. This isn't even the main event. All right, here's what we're looking at. Again, this is the cell up to our north. That's not the main concern. This is the main concern, but the problem is there's another cell between this and the one that we're going after. Here, I'm stopped in the middle of these dirt roads. I think I'm gonna head down here a little further south, and then a little further this way again. But where I'm at is such a nice spot for viewing here. I don't know, maybe I'll just hang out here, find a place to pull off, of course, instead of just the side of the road. But right here is pretty good. We'll see what we get here shortly. All right, so as you can see, the storm's now really moving off to my north. So I'm gonna turn back around, head back up towards Columbus. And by the time that occurs, I should have a decent view of what's going on inside of that cell, if it's going to turn tornadic or not. If not, then we're going to hang tight for a little bit, have a little bit of downtime, rest a little bit, and then back to the chase for the main event, the main cell that we're chasing, or intend to chase if it develops. Back in Columbus, it's not going to develop this first cell. I'm now going to take a look at the models because it's been a while. And we'll see what they're thinking about the Stillwater cell, which doesn't look to be much on radar, which is somewhat concerning. All right, at McDonald's for the third time today. I've spent like $2 in water, 3 large cups and 3 medium cups, and they charge a different price for everything every time. Whatever, I don't even care anymore. Fact of the matter is, I'm not thinking we're getting any action here. There's a lot of action north of Oklahoma City, and the HRRR showed none of that occurring, which is concerning. But based on that, I'm going to head towards Bartlesville, which also puts me closer to where I'm staying the night tonight in Norman. So hopefully that, and I'll be back soon. As I look off to the side here, I can finally see the base of the clouds that I'm supposed to be seeing. It looks moderate, which is, somewhere in between. So not great, not crazy, but also possible. So we'll kind of see what happens here. Again, I'm going away from it. I'm not liking what's up here. Again, I still have no sunlight, which is kind of killer for tornadoes. We need that sunlight for reasons I mentioned earlier. All right, I'm on the turnpike here, headed towards Tulsa now. Good news, bad news. Good news is actually pretty good. Good news is that we have our first tornado warning of the day. Additionally, it's the cell we're headed after. Great, fantastic, great. What's the bad news, Chris? Well, the bad news is we might not see it before it gets dark out. Darkness is now our #1 enemy at the moment, aside from, of course, hail, which we might get regardless at this point, again, because of the nature of these storms. The good news is that we have a potential to see it. The bad news is that we only have an hour or so left of sunlight if you will. And as you can see, I'm lit up well, but that's not due to the sun. Well, I mean, it is due to the sun, but it's rather overcasty at the moment. If we can get past all these clouds and see a break of sunlight, like I have a few times since leaving Kansas, we've gotten a couple breaks in sunlight. Well, maybe, just maybe, we can have an opportunity to take a look at least the base of a storm or something, you know, let alone maybe potentially a tornado. All right, we got off the turnpike. Now we're headed north of Tulsa. Owasso was originally the target. Now we're going to head even further north than that. I'm thinking Vera, Oklahoma now, via Owasso. So through Owasso-ish, maybe something like that, head towards Vera and hopefully get a good look at the Fairfax Ralston cell at the moment, which appears to be, you know, just a slight change in pace away from developing into a tornado. And so I guess we'll just stick with it and see what happens now. All we have to do is wait and, again, hope the candle stays lit for the next few minutes while we get into position and hopefully drop a tornado. So effectively, there's two cells here. The northernmost cell appears to be able to go tornadic at any time. The southernmost cell has a tornado possible tag on the warning, whereas the northernmost cell does not have that. In addition, if I chase the northernmost cell, I could get pinned by the southernmost cell and end up getting hail or tornado myself, which is, again, as stated previously, not the goal of today's chase. So I have about 30 minutes till sunset. I'm just going to continue driving relatively west, maybe clicking north here and there, but I found this decent road. It's 55. It has lights and stuff, but it's a comfortable road, a wide road, so I can have a good look of the surroundings as I'm driving. So for now, that's what we're going to stick with. All right, I'm stopped now. We're near the Tulsa airport at the moment. I want to continue going further west. There's not really a great road that goes west without also going south. I don't want to go south because then I'd be too far south to potentially see the northernmost cell. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here for a minute, game plan, take a look at maps and radar, and again, talk with my contacts and see what we can do. All right, things are getting very real very quickly. I just decided to go to Skyduck. We're back on the road. Again, you'll see on the timestamp in the corner or something. It has not been that long. We're back on the road. We're heading towards Skyduck. And believe it or not, a tornado warning has just been issued for the cell that we're going after for Skyduck. Let's go. We have our chance. Let's hope we make it. It's now 7:45 more or less, which means it is sunset. It's also getting dark. It's time to terminate the chase, unfortunately. I mean, it's possible I see a tornado sitting here for the next few seconds, minutes, whatever, while I sit here, but I doubt it. It's still 10, 15 miles away from here. It's rocketing to the north still, so it's not very right moving, which means it's probably not tornadic. They just issued another tornado warning, removed the confirmed tag on it, and reduced it down to radar indicated instead of radar confirmed. So, yeah, that's where we're at the moment. It is time to most likely terminate the chase here.